What is going on, guys? This is Versus All Gaming with my review of Noragami episode 11. And this episode, it was awesome and definitely heartbreaking at the same time. So the episode, it starts off from where we picked off last week, and we see now that Hiyori, she actually no longer remembers Yato. She actually remembers Yukine, but not Yato. And even though he dropping all these hints, she cannot figure out who he is. And so of course when they go back to Kofuku and Dakaku house, Yato's freaking out because he has no idea, what happened to Hiyori, because it's just so random for her to forget about him. But Yukine here, he was calm and he didn't really worry about it too much because he was saying that, it probably just amnesia and she'll remember at some point, but Yato did not want to wait. He actually wanted to help her remember him as soon as possible. He was saying that he will definitely make her do that. And so he actually took her back to the street where they first met, and it was when they were searching for Milord, who we all know was the cat that had ran away. And of course, I'm pretty sure he requested Yato, to go out there and find him. And so even though he was telling her about the story, she actually did remember, Milord, but she did not remember Yato. And so that right there, it was definitely heartbreaking because these characters have been together since the series started, and now it's like they drifted apart. And so she only came in the first place. It was to give Yukine these books. And of course, he was saying, just humor Yato because he was definitely giving this his all. And so when she left, Yato here actually had ran after her, and he actually used, the worst words to try to get her to remember him, because he told her to get in bed with him because it should remind her of the day that she was in the hospital. But that right there, just caused her to throw him, and it was just so freaking hilarious. I'm pretty sure that he could have worded that a lot better, but it was just hilarious the way he was saying it. And so now Yato here, he actually gets another idea where he plans on doing this picture memory book, and he's actually, drawing out from when they first met and to the last time she had remembered him. And Yato here is definitely a good artist, so you should have known this right here was gonna come out pretty freaking well. And so now we see that he actually spent all of his money that he's earned up so far on art supplies. So you could just tell, how much he cares about Hiyori and how badly he wants her to remember him if he willing to spend all this money that he's made so far. But while they were going back to their new home so that he could color it, we see now that Nora had appeared. And I also forgot to mention at the beginning of the episode, we saw the flashback of Rabo and Yato, and we see them, kind of working together, cutting these men down. And we also see now that, in the present time in the real world, we see that Rabo, he actually killed these people. And now we see one guy actually saw him and he tried to run away, but he tried to call out to Nora. She transformed him into a sword and he just jumped and cut that man down. Now this guy is a serious murderer, and I do wonder, how in the world would the police even classify an incident like this? Because clearly it's murder, but it's they are never gonna find who did it. So Rabo should just kill anybody he wants and he'll never get caught. But now to go back to where Nora had appeared before Yato and Yukine, and we see now that Rabo, he was standing on this on his power line, and we see that he called out to Nora, and she transformed into a sword again. And now he had jumped down, and Yato had to act quickly, and so he got Yukine to transform, and we just got this epic fight. And Yato was saying that he could not hold back at all, because if he did, then he'll definitely die. So he was actually going all out. He was trying to kill Rabo, and that right there, really surprised Yukine. But their fight was definitely interesting, and I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it a lot. Nora definitely had, a very interesting power, because it's she can control water. And we see that when she actually showed Yato her new brand, he was definitely shocked by that. But her water power, it was definitely it was definitely pretty cool, because we see at one point where Rabo here, he actually stabbed the ground to make this water, it was formed of a snake, I guess you can say. It definitely seemed very snake-like, but we see that the water pressure, it was so great that and Yukine's mind, I guess, or in his own dimension, he was definitely getting hurt. And I also like how Yato fights, using his environment, because we see at one point he actually the power line as like a rope to force him to go to where Rabo would have came out. And we see that when he cuts him, it was actually a water clone. So that right there is another unique power. But eventually, their fight, it definitely took their toll on Yukine, as the blade was like covered in blood, and that was his own blood. So clearly, he was getting way too beat up, and he could not defeat Rabo, at the time. So that right there was definitely sad. But Nora said that if he can't beat Rabo, then she actually will return to Yori memory, because we all know she's the one that has stolen in the first place. And it seems that the memory of Yato is like in this gem that she has. And so now that she left them, we have Yato here going to. Well, actually, no. Like before that, we actually see like a vent or a storm here. It actually appeared because they were fighting, and so of course now they had. I'm pretty sure that right there was the only reason that they stopped the fight was because of the storm, and we saw all the phantom appearing. And so now that they had left, we have Yato here who went to Tenjin, and we have Yukine who had went back to Kofuku, and we also see that that Bishamon, she also picked up on the storm. So Kazuma here, he actually thought that it was brought on by a Kofuku, so he had went to go make sure that it was her, but it turns out that it was Yato. And he was definitely surprised about that. And so now we have Yukine here, who actually learned about so much, because now he knows about Rabo, and he also knows that Yato here is a god of calamity. And to make things worse, Rabo and Yato were actually partners. And so when Yato had went to go to see Tenjin, he would like tell him the same thing basically, how Rabo hasn't changed and he's still quite powerful. And to make things worse, Tenjin thinks that Hiyori, no longer having any memory of them, is for the best, because that way she'll no longer go into her phantom form. But we have Hiyori here, who was still thinking about Yato. She might not remember him, but she's still thinking about him, because we saw her in the bath and she was like wondering, why was he so desperate. And so now we have Yukine here, who was definitely wanting to get Hiyori memory back, and we see now that he had left Kofuku home to go meet with Yato, and they met on this bridge. And so when Yukine was going to talk to him, Yato was saying or telling him to just forget about her. And so now that right there made Yukine very upset, and he just went back home and just went upstairs to his room. And so eventually he actually comes across the picture book that Yato was like working on. And the next day, when Hiyori was in school, we see her now going through her notebook, and she actually comes across just like this little sketch that she did of her, Yukine, and Yato. And so now she like figured out that she actually does remember him, but she does not know him. And to her, it's just so weird. But Yukine, who I don't know who phoned that, I didn't know he had a phone, but it's like he texted her or something, and they eventually meet up at this riverbank. And so now he's like showing her the picture book, and it was definitely true, because, and of course we all know that Yato is an amazing artist, so his drawing was like definitely good. But after Yukine's ablution, we see that he did one drawing of them all together, and it's not that Yukine's drawing was bad, but we all know that Yato was clearly better. But it seems that even though they have both put the effort into this book, it still did not help her. And we see that when Yukine here was with Hiyori, we see that, Yato can actually feel him being with her. And it seemed to hurt him. Not like him getting stung or anything, but, it just hurt his heart, because he definitely hurting because she not remember him. But while he was like walking around, we see that Nora actually appeared before him. And we see that once again, she like holding that jewel. But we see now that like something weird is happening. And Hiyori, she actually wanted to borrow that book because she was saying that it might help her remember more. But right after she got it, she had lost her memory once again, and this time it was like all of her memory of Yukine. And so now she asked him if the book was his, and that right there was just like too much of a shock to handle. So when he was gonna take the book back, he actually dropped it and he just ran off. And so now Hiyori definitely felt how hurt he was. And Nora did this to just like speed things along, because she was like getting impatient because he did not come back to them yet. Because we see that once again, Rabo has killed a lot of people, and she just like sped things up so that Yato will come confront them. And so now, after Nora left him, Yato went to go find Yukine at the riverbed, and of course he was definitely upset. He was crying because now Hiyori here have got him as well. But Yato really wanted to get her memory back, but at the same time he like definitely worried because if he goes to fight them again, then they could kill Yukine, and that right there might be giving them what they want. But Yukine was definitely being confident, and he told Yato to believe in himself because those are the words that he said to him. And so now it's kind of like the roles are reversed here, but both of them are now determined, to go out there and get her memory back. And so we see that Hiyori, she actually took the book home and she went through it once more, and she realized that in these drawings she had this tail, which of course kind of like I'm guessing it was like a little bit of a shock to her because we all know normally she wouldn't have a tail, but her mother called her. I'm guessing it was for her to go to school, and we see now right before she had left her front gate, Yukine and Yato appeared before her. And of course, she had no idea who they were, but they were saying, or like apologizing to her, and they were saying that they were going to get her memory back. And even though, she might have forgot them, her body still remembered them because we saw that, she was crying. But right before they left, she had touched Yato's shoulder, and once again, she had went into her half phantom form, while her real body, left there in the rain, and that's where the episode ended. So like I said, this episode, it was definitely good. Like, that first fight between Rabo and Yato, that right there was epic. The animation was just so freaking beautiful. And of course, with Hiyori not forgetting them both, her memory fading altogether because Nora was saying that eventually she'll forget everything and she'll become nothing but an empty shell. So the feels were definitely there, and the action, it was just so freaking good. I definitely know that the next week, the final episode, is going to be freaking amazing. But as always, please do not forget to like the video and subscribe because that really helps me out. And you guys take it easy, and I will see you all next time.